Hello, every pony. I bring you chapter 19 of Children of the Night. I hope you look forward to this, because I sure do. And I hope you have as much fun listening to this as I had fun writing it. Enjoy. Children of the Night, chapter 19. Offense. 1 week had passed since Luna had returned to her children. Celestia had filled her in what had happened, while Moonsinger was still a little weak. The strain of her forced ascension against the magical suppression of the potion had caused her some mild side effects. Also, the first thing Luna had done when Moonsinger had woken up was throw her out for acting so reckless. Her daughter had tried to justify her actions, but Luna wouldn't have any of it. In her eyes, that act was the most stupid path her daughter could have taken. After the lecturing was done, however, the two alicorns shared a tearful embrace that was filled with relief. They were both more than happy to see each other once again. After Moonsinger had recovered enough to move around, the three of them had a talk of great length. The three immortal siblings decided that, since there were 100,000 and 24,000 combat-ready enforced, plus several hundred volunteers from the freed cities, they would each take 40,000 and start their offensive on more than one front. The volunteers from the cities and the remaining enforcers would secure supply routes and defend recaptured territories. Also, each and every platoon was assigned a captain, who would be second in command. For Celestia's platoon, Apple Candy had volunteered. She had seen how well the eldest of the siblings could plan, and how well she could fight if she had to. She respected that, and wanted to help her as good as she could. Luna chose Frostmane, whose commanding ability and effectiveness in battle was only second to Moonsinger among her children. There had been many volunteers, but Luna wanted the most fitted one for the position. For Frostmane, it was a great honor to be chosen by their mother, and she obliged eagerly by hugging Luna. Moonsinger had to turn down several volunteers. There was only one stallion she would want at her side when the battle began. It was Flametail. She had promised him to take him into battle if the opportunity arose. She was now keeping that promise. "So, where do you plan to direct your forces, Celestia?" asked Luna during their last meeting before they would commence the attack. "I plan to head west to Lost Pegasus. Due to your new connection with your children and your generous supply of mana crystals, we should be able to make it there and back." "I will go to Huffington. The town I was born in shall not suffer under Chrysalis." "Well, you two seem to get along pretty well lately." "Very well. If you head east, Moonsinger, and Celestia goes west, then I will head south to Appaloosa. The only city up north would be Canterlot, past the Trotback Mountains and the main forest. So this is the best option for me. I think we can all agree that we will wait until we retake Canterlot, until our numbers have increased considerably. I trust that Twilight Sparkle and her friends, even so emotionally unstable at the moment, will stay hidden until we do," finished Luna, summarizing the meeting. The two other mayors nodded, as each of them grabbed a map of Equestria. Originally, they didn't want to go on to an offensive like this, but Moonsinger had gotten Luna's point. The sooner the war ended, the sooner the garden would not be in danger any longer. Also, there had been a messenger from Ponyville, who had relayed a message from the Crystal Empire. Princess Cadence had reached it safe and sound. The changeling army that had massed on their borders had withdrawn due to unknown reasons. "Dear Celestia, I have arrived in the Crystal Empire. The situation is not as bad as I thought it would be. Most of the civilians are unharmed, even so most of my soldiers can't say the same. On the other hand, most of the civilian population is eager to help, and recruiting is already underway. What you have told me about what could happen to me has occurred. It really is a good thing I have Diamond with me. even if it is only for that reason alone. She has agreed to assist in the fight against Chrysalis in a more active role. What that will be, you will have to see for yourself. I will only tell you this much. Now that she has chosen to help us, she will never be able to become the ruling queen in Chrysalis's hive. It has something to do with pheromones, or so she explained to me. As of the moment of this letter, I declare her an ally of the Crystal Empire. Yes, you have read right. I have set her free. My ponies had some problems warming up to her at first, but they are starting to accept her as an equal, since she has yet to make any attempt to feed forcefully. Instead, I have witnessed how many of my subjects have agreed for her to feed on them a little. No pony has been harmed so far, and no pony has described it as being unpleasant either. I am starting to think that we might actually be able to coexist. Princess Miyamori Cadenza of the Crystal Empire. This meant that Cadence would be able to start her own offensive soon, and she would come from the north. If they did it right, then all four of them could reach Canterlot at exactly the same time. No matter how many changelings Chrysalis would be breeding, this would be her downfall. Of that the three were sure. Closing the meeting, the three only immortal alicorns crossed their horns and embraced in a group hug. "See you two in Canterlot." "You bet, Auntie, we'll give her hell." "Don't get reckless, now that you're an alicorn, Moonsinger. Don't forget to send Flametail my way if you run into trouble." "Yes, ma'am." Celestia giggled. In her time in the Unicorn Republic's army, she had attended more than one meeting to plan an offensive or defend a crucial area. She had always felt strange during those, but this felt even stranger. So much, indeed, that she couldn't help but break out into laughter. It felt wrong somehow, but also good. They were going into battle, but were simply saying goodbye, as if there was no possibility of them never seeing each other again. She liked it. At sunset, Celestia, Luna, and Moonsinger set out to start their counter-invasion. Sure, they had already recaptured 3 cities, but that had been nothing more than petty raids compared to what they were doing now. Dividing their forces and attacking on more than one front would most likely strain the Changeling Queen's ability to plan ahead. However, at least Celestia's force would have to return after each fight. Luna and Moonsinger would be able to raise similar barriers, like in the garden, around their field camps, making it almost impossible for their sparks to run out. Midnight, during the same night. Luna had motivated her children to make haste, and here they were. Not even 2 miles ahead of them lay Appaloosa, one of the newest pony settlements in Equestria, and the first city she would free in this invasion. They had already encountered several of the patrols that guarded the perimeter, but none of them had been able to get back to their base to alert their others. Luna checked their surroundings with her magic and then frowned. She had hoped to be able to use a similar tactic as Moonsinger when her daughter had retaken Baltimore. A magical barrier, she felt, however, was preventing her from doing so. It was not meant to keep anything outside, but to dispel any transformation magic. She called Frostmane to her side, and the blue-coated unicorn mare came running. "What is it, Mother?" "I want you to take 10,000 of our forces and circle around the settlement. I will sneak into the city and make it look like I want to retake it on my own. When you see my signal, a magical firework, you will charge into the city. The remaining forces will form a belt around the city to make sure no changeling escapes." "But what about those who surrender?" "They would not make prisoners if they were in our position. I hate it as much as you do, Frostmane, but we will have to take out each and every one of them, even those who surrender." Frostmane did not feel the slightest remorse at this. She would have killed all the changelings she met anyway. There was just no way she would one of them come close enough to talk to her or surrender. This fight was her chance to correct her mistake from the attack on Ponyville. There she had not been able to help their mother, but this time she would rather die than let it happen again. "Understood. I will get my squad ready and depart immediately. Or do you want us to wait? No, I have already relayed my orders to the others. I will go in now, so don't keep me waiting. With that she disappeared in a bright flash of pale white light, only to reappear in the middle of the changeling barracks. They were startled, and some never got the chance to react to the intruder. Luna did not use her magic, but slammed her way through her foes. She used her magical mane and tail to knock them through the room by the dozens, while her hooves smashed several skulls. They tried to fight back, but the magical bolts that hit Luna were nothing more than light stings on her skin, some being a little more painful than the others. Was this the power of a naturally ascended alicorn? She sensed two beings approach her from behind, but bucked at them before they could grab her. Their heads disintegrated in sprays of red mist, while their bodies dropped to the floor. Luna was stunned at her own raw power, when 20 of them came from either sides of the small room she had teleported in and grabbed her. For a moment they thought they might have a chance to capture the alicorn, until their attacker spread her wings and shook them off with a single flap of them. The wind that was now running through the small comfort of Barrack A-22 was enough to blow most of the furniture around. Again Luna was marveling just how much stronger she was than before. There was just no comparing her former form to her naturally ascended one. Her appearance might not have changed much, but her power certainly had. She felt confident that, would the situation arise, she would be able to even defeat Celestia with this kind of power. She shook her head. No, where was that thought coming from? She would never again raise a hoof against her sister. That she had sworn when she had been freed by the elements of harmony. Still, she couldn't deny that it felt good, knowing that she was now stronger than her older sibling. And so could be Moonsinger. Her daughter had also naturally ascended. While galloping through the hallways of the underground barracks, like back in the day when she had been a special operator, she remembered the training session she had held with Moonsinger. 2 days previous. Moonsinger was standing on a field, far away from the garden or any other pony settlement. Luna was with her to contain her talent, should she lose control over it. Both of them used the moon's mana, so Luna was a logical choice. "So, you really want me to do it?" Moonsinger sounded hesitant. She hadn't used her special talent for several years, and back then it had been all but uncontrolled. "Yes, Moonsinger. I have to see if you are a potential danger to your brothers and sisters. If you prove to be one, Celestia and I might have to seal that magical talent of yours. Believe me, I would hate to do it, but—" "You don't have to apologize, Mother. I would rather die than endanger them. Besides, if you seal my horn's outlet, I can still draw magic in myself and use it. My physical strength is enough of a gift for me." "Okay, then. Let's begin, whenever you're ready." Moonsinger closed her eyes. The process of singing was an instinctual one. She had never once, on her previous outings to use her talent, chosen the words nor the melody of her songs. It just came to her. Dropping her hesitation and her unwillingness to do it, she could hear the melody in her mind. Soon her mouth began to move on its own, and the words came to her, forming a beautiful, yet sad song. Even so her eyes were closed, she could clearly see all of her surroundings. She could see, since the moon had replaced her eyes. "I command the gentle rays. They come from your grey surface. Tonight you die." At that moment, Luna had felt an enormous amount of magic coming her way. As she looked up, the impossible had actually happened. The moon's rays had solidified and were now raining down in her general direction. Yet she did not move. She trusted her daughter, and was positive that no Moon Manor would be able to hurt her anyway. She couldn't have been more wrong. As the rays hit the ground all around her, a dust cloud rose up that shielded even her own nose from her view. Instinctually, she raised her wings, trying to clear some of the dust in front of her. That had been when one of the rays, a stray one she was sure, had scraped her flank. It was a shallow cut, but it had burned like some pony had poured pure acid on her. Despite the pain, she had forced herself to stay still until her daughter's song had ended. As the dust had cleared enough for her to see again, she saw a sight of utter destruction. They had been standing on a grassy field just minutes ago, but now there was nothing left of it. In fact, the place she was standing on was several meters above the ground now, and being one of the only 2 spots that were left unharmed. The other one was where Moonsinger stood, her eyes still closed. If her daughter could control this talent, fine, but she shall never use it in battle. Had she used it in a populated area like Canterlot? Present. Luna stood in front of the pub of Appaloosa. Changelings were now pouring onto the main street from all directions. She disposed of some of them, but with this many she was sure they could overwhelm even her. So she shot up a flare spell into the air. Only seconds later her children, led by Frostmane, charged into the main street, slaughtering the changelings from behind. They had been caught off guard and were barely able to fight back. Changelings. Strange enough, even those creatures were creatures of the day, and a nightly raid had done the job. Luna just hoped that they would not adapt to these tactics.